Now, it's not easy to practice every day. It's not easy to have that positive attitude. And I learned something years ago from a great man named Louis Armstrong. In 1960, I was a member of the Dukes of Dixieland. And we had the opportunity to record with Louis Armstrong. It's one of the most important things that ever happened to me in my musical career. We were nervous, man. We were absolutely train wrecks about this recording. Because you see, in those days, if you made a mistake, you started all over again. You didn't splice tape like they do today. So each one of us is thinking, oh, Lord, if I make a mistake, let me make my mistake before Louis records his solo. Because if he records a solo and then I make a mistake and they got to throw it all out, he's not going to be too happy. And we're on the road, we're up in Toronto, and we're trying to find out what tunes Louis wants to play, and we don't hear anything from him at all. We just know that next week we're in New York, playing at the Round Table during the night and recording with Louis during the day. Have you heard from Louis? Nope. Hope we know the tunes he wants to do. So we get into New York, and the second day we're there, we go to this studio, Webster Hall. We walk in and there's Louis sitting at a table. Everybody said hi and we all greeted each other. And we knew him, we'd known him and played opposite him in jazz festivals and that. He looked at us, he said, well, what you cats want to record? We said, well, we thought you'd have some tunes. He said, no, I thought you'd have some tunes you want to do, you know. So we spent an hour discussing tunes, because if you record a tune for one company, you can't record it for another company for a period of years. And Louis would say, well, you guys think you'd like to do so-and-so? And his manager would say, Louis, you did that last year, you can't do it for this company. Oh, yeah, that's right. We finally came up with some tunes. So now we start recording. And Louis standing here with his trumpet, clarinets over here, trombones are here. I'm over here on tuba, here's the drums, and I'm looking right at him. The first tune that Louis wants to do is a tune called Avalon. And he said, anybody know the words? Frank said, yeah, let's see. I met my love in Avalon beside the sea. He said, that's all I can think of. Louis said, that's all right, I'll make it. And we started playing Avalon, and Louis's wife was sitting behind him, just about where this young drummer is sitting. And behind her was an all-glass recording booth. So Lucille is sitting back there, and Louis starts singing. And there's this big wall here. He turns that wall into 10,000 people. He's looking at, I'm looking at him, and he's singing, and he's looking at faces and recognizing people. He says, I met Lucille in Avalon beside the sea, and she's here with me today. And he's waving at people and laughing and like, how you doing? And pointing to her. And I'm flabbergasted. I can't believe it. We get done with that tune. What's the next tune? Just a Closer Walk with Thee. And Mr. Armstrong folded his hands, put his horn over here. And in that moment, he turned that place into a personal chapel. He looked up and he started talking to God. He said, just a closer walk with thee, oh Lord. It's you and me. Nobody in the room but Louis and his God. It was absolutely frightening. And we got done with the first take. I'm standing there crying. I turned and looked at drummers crying, clarinet players crying, trombones are crying. Lucille is crying, his own wife. And the engineer, who was used to working with heavies. Earlier that day, he'd recorded Lena Horne and Billy Eckstine, so he wasn't intimidated by names. He came out intending to tell Louis that the first take was a good one and we wouldn't have to do it again. And he walked up to Louis, he looked him right in the face and had to turn away. He couldn't talk. And Louis picked up on it and said, well, think it's time we get some donuts and some coffee and we'll take a little break. And that broke the ice, and we sat down at the table again, and they sent a gopher out and got some sweets, you know, and stuff, and so we're sitting there. And for some reason, God gave me the moxie to talk to Louis at that point. I said, how do you do that? How is it that you turn it into an audience? You turn it into your own chapel? How do you do that? Get away from all the stuff that's bugging you in your mind about making mistakes and doing that. And he looked at me and he says, well, he says, I always play for somebody I love. That's all. You play for somebody you love all the time. He says, I always play for him because he give me the talent. He says, I play for Lucille because she's my wife and I love her, and if I make some mistakes, she understands. He said, they all want to listen, that's cool. He said, if they don't want to listen, it's still cool because I was going to play for him and her anyway. And I thought, man, that is so hip, it's ridiculous. You don't walk out and worry about a judge if you're in a state contest. You don't worry about the size of an audience, if they're going to like you. You walk out and you play every note for somebody you love, and you let them listen to it and witness it. And even if they weren't there, half of them are gone. You play for somebody you love and you don't worry about anything else, because you see, when you play for somebody you love, you automatically try to do the best you can because you love that person. If you remember anything from this week, this is what I want you to remember. You're special. God gave you an incredible gift, and he's watching you develop it. And you play for somebody you love every time you play your instrument, whether you're practicing alone or with a small group or with a big band. You play for somebody you love. You don't have to tell them who it is. But you try it. Believe me, man, it is one of the most important music lessons you're ever going to get. I learned it from Louis Armstrong, and he did not lie to me. And that's all I want to say on the subject. Thank you very much.